Datuk Sri Anwar bin Ibrahim, the native of Penang, was born in Ceruk Tokun, Bukit Mertajam, Penang on 10 August 1947. He is married to Datin Sri Dato' Wang Aziza bin Dato' Ismail, blessed with 6 children of 5 daughters and a son. He currently lives in Segambut, Kuala Lumpur. Anwar Ibrahim enrolled his early education at Bukit Mertajam Primary Boys School, Bukit Mertajam, Penang. Then he continued his secondary school studies at Maktab Melayu Kuala Kangsar MCKK around year 1960 to 1966. He was an active student while studying at MCKK in Malay Language Association and later became his school orator and was once appointed as MCKK Chief Supervisor. Then he continued his higher study in 1967 at the University of Malaya and taking Malay Study Literature courses. His political career began since he was a young boy by becoming the president of Malaysian Islamic Student Union from 1968 to 1971. Other than that, he was also the co-founder of the Angkatan Belia Malaysia ABIM by the year of 1971 and also was elected as the president of Malaysia Youth Council MBM. He was imprisoned after the event where he is leading the students' demonstration against poverty and hunger in rural area. The rally was sparked by the news of a family in Baling village, Kedah State, who dies of poverty due to falling rubber prices. But unfortunately, Anwar was detained under International Security Act (ISA) because the news later proved to be false. In Kamunting Prison, Perak, he spent 20 months of his sentence. His career in politics became increasingly advanced in 1982 when he decided to take a surprising decision despite the fear and feeling of life behind the.
Anwar's political belief is Islamic democracy. Anwar has long been an advocate for Islamic democracy and for reforms to Malaysia's political system. We represent Islam in the sense that it has to tolerant, liberal, plural and even accept some of the value of the West, said Anwar. Anwar has spoken in favor of Islamic democracy and stated that he hopes Malaysia will serve as a model for democratic behavior in the Muslim world. When Anwar served as Education Minister in the 1980s, Anwar helped Islamize the whole government system and had a significant impact on the Islamification of the educational system, according to former Law Minister Zahid Ibrahim. Anwar is a leading Muslim intellectual in Malaysia who is rich in ideas, transformative and imaginative. UMNO, a political organisation exclusively promoting Malaysia interests, was established by Dato' Wan Jaafar. The largest political party, UMNO, formerly served as the foundation of the national government and held the majority of the seat. PKR is political party Anwar Ibrahim founded and served as the leader. Pakatan Harapan or known as PH are substitute for Pakatan Rakyat and established in 22 September 2015.
I will continue the presentation with the Anwar Ibrahim's role prior to the 15th general election. Following the infamous Sheraton move in early 2020, we can see that the former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad refused to name his successor, Anwar Ibrahim, to the premiership, although he had promised to do so during the 14th general election. After that event, the PH government, the ruling government, collapsed, causing the defected MPs that caused the collapse of the government joined with the opposition with PAS UMNO to form a newly Trikata National PN government. And with that in hand, Anwar became leader of the opposition for the second time. And with that in hand as well, Muhyiddin Yassin, the president of Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia (PPBM), became the prime minister. And he led the nation through COVID-19 and with the ongoing political crisis still occurring throughout his premiership. Anwar has made claims of majority, especially in the late 2020 and in 2021, although the claims were failed. The PN governor was criticized for COVID-19 and misconduct allegations that was made against the ruling government. With that in hand, UMNO with the President Ahmad announced their withdrawal of support to the PN government, causing Muhyiddin to resign as Prime Minister. Later, the UMNO named Ismail Sabri Yaakob, the Vice President of UMNO, to become the next Prime Minister of Malaysia.
On October 2022, Ismail Sabri announced the dissolution of Parliament. The purpose of this action is to give the resident opportunity to vote for candidates. As we know, the vote must be done within 60 days after the declaration of the dissolution of Parliament. But Pakatan Harapan rejected Ismail Sabri's call for Dewan Undangan Negeri to be solved before 2023. However, the Electoral Commission had decided the final essay to the period for candidates to start their campaign. Next, we move to Anwar Ibrahim started campaign for the general election. There are many campaigns that had Anwar launched to be Malaysia's Prime Minister. Anwar had launched campaigns such as Tambun, Ledang, Kuala Lumpur and more. In the last week of candidate to campaign, Anwar Ibrahim ramped out his campaign, and this action has biased by polls putting the veteran opposition ahead in a close fourth contest.
Pakatan Harapan Chairman Anwar Ibrahim, who contested and won for prediction in the 14th general election, was left and contested for the Tambun parliamentary seat in the 15th general election on 29 October. He confirmed his decision for Tambun parliamentary seat against former Bersatu Deputy President Ahmad Faizal Azumu, who was also the Youth and Sports Minister. Datuk Seri Ahmad Faizal Azumu said he opened the challenge for him and Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, as he is certain that he was not intimidated by him. Some of the basis of Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim to contest for Tambun parliamentary seats are he wanted to expand the influence of Pakatan Harapan in Perak, and due to the failure of present policies, he offered alternative for the people in Tambun. The 15th generation was open a total of 160 and 558 Tambun voters, or one of the strategies that Pakatan Harapan used to gain people's trust into voting the Pakatan Harapan for the 15th general election are spreading their manifesto around the people. Manifesto are a declaration of intent or self-justification made public and typically made by a political party or authority when there is an election of the country that has been held. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, as the Pakatan Harapan Chairman, was launched the Pakatan Harapan's manifesto on October 20, earlier than the original date, which is October 29, due to Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said that they don't want a long manifesto, and he stated that the fundamental manifesto must relate to the cost of living, education, health facilities, job prospects, and removing corruption. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim added that while PH is open to working with any party, such collaboration should be founded on specific values and go beyond simply opposing UMNO and Barisan Nasional. He also said that Parti Sosialis Malaysia and the Malaysia United Democratic Allies, also known as MUDA, have decided to establish an electoral alliance. Additionally, he disclosed that Dr. Rais Hussein Muhammad Arif, a co-founder of Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia, had joined PKR. Pakatan Harapan was determined that Malaysia must be rebuilt from the ruin caused by overlapping crises in healthcare, jobs, food supply and educational sectors. The hardships on the people have gotten worse under the Barisan Nasional and Perikatan Nasional administration for more than 30 months, while social
those being the promise not to take any salary if appointed as a Prime Minister. If appointed as a Prime Minister, Pakatan Harapan Chairman Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says he will be ashamed to pocket a salary while Malaysians bear the brunt of rising prices of goods. He said the people are sick of seeing Prime Minister live lavish lifestyle while ordinary folks are struggling financially. He also said he would trim the size of his cabinet and cut their salaries as well. He said he is willing to undertake this and it is not impossible. He explained that this is because he was ashamed that the people were struggling with rising prices while their salaries remain the same. With the current economic situation, a salary cut is necessary for the next Prime Minister. In Islam, power is a responsibility, not a privilege. He will do this to tackle Malaysia's rising cost of living and combat corruption. Anwar also intends to downsize his cabinet and lower the salaries of ministers. He also made a promise during the political campaign that he and his family members will not receive any government projects. To strengthen the faith of the people who assume all politicians are the same and are only interested in enriching themselves, depending on the situation, the pay cut will be carried out throughout the government's 5-year tenure, or it could range from 3 to 5 years. Anwar also vowed to change politics in Malaysia if PH becomes a federal government, saying that there will be no longer a bloated administration with lots of ministers and deputy ministers like previous governments. Anwar also said that it is not difficult to develop Sabah, but is hindered by corruption. He added that there are still some parts of Sabah that have terrible roads, no electricity and water supply, and hospitals are far. Even though there are people living in poverty in the peninsula, it cannot be denied that Sabah has been neglected in terms of development, and that if appointed Prime Minister, he will bring development to the state.
Conclusively, Pakatan Harapan's chairman, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who was appointed as the 10th Prime Minister of Malaysia on 24 November 2022 by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Pakatan Harapan won the election by coalition with the Barisan Nasional, with number of seats won in Parliament were 82 seats by Pakatan Harapan with Muda and 30 seats won by the Barisan Nasional. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim won the election by gaining the people trust with his strategies that were done before the election.